Hello there, and welcome to the first episode of the Movie Talk Express podcast. For short, you can call it the MTE podcast. And this is the place where we love movies just like you. And for those of you who don't know about us, we started a movie blog about a little over a year ago. And I mean, we're nowhere near any success or anything, but we have quite a few followers, and we decided to take this into a podcast edition that we're going to go for a weekly podcast where we just talk about movies, movie topics, movie discussions, movie news, new releases, anything that has to do with movies. And it doesn't have to be a specific subject each week. You know, we can have movie news one week and then a random subject such as favorite horror movies of all time, for example. And to introduce myself, my name is Jacob Bartley. I'm one of the editors / writers on Movie Talk Express, and I'm here with my co-host, co-founder of Movie Talk Express, co-writer, Gio.
Hello, film fans. How are you all doing today? MTE.
And we're here just to talk movies with you guys. You know, we just love movies. That's the bottom line. And we are just fans like everyone else out there. We don't claim to be professionals. We don't think our opinion is better than anyone else's. We just want to hang out and talk movies. And that's pretty much the basis of this podcast. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, just because I don't like Twilight doesn't mean you don't have to like it. You can like it. It's okay.
He's not talking about me. He's talking about anyone out there that does like those movies.
You know who you are.
Exactly. That's the point. Not every movie's for everyone, and not everybody's going to like every movie. Like, even though The Avengers is the best movie of all time, not everyone else is going to think that, you know?
I don't know about that one.
But anyways, so the way this is going to work is it's going to be a weekly show most weeks, unless there's a holiday or something. And we're going to go through certain segments through each show. And for this very first episode, we would just want to take some time to kind of introduce ourselves and talk about why we love movies, what we plan to do with this podcast, some of our favorite movies of all time, actors, directors, writers. So without anything further, I want to get into our first segment, which is kind of just talking about us as individuals and why we love movies. And I'm going to go ahead and start. I have always loved movies, and it's weird because it wasn't until a couple years ago that I realized I can turn that love into a hobby as far as movie blogging, talking about movies and writing about movies. And ever since I was a kid, I was always interested in storytelling and any type of storytelling, whether it's books, movies, TV shows, picture books, anything. And I think it's a great thing that us as human beings have, in order to communicate with each other. And in my opinion, movies are the best form of storytelling. It's the best of all worlds. You get to see, hear everything that's going on, and within that, you gain an experience that is unlike any other within a movie. And that's something very special to me and that I think is great. And also, my love for movies stems from the superhero comic book genre, and it's not something that I'm ashamed of. A lot of people would say, oh, that's just the cool thing going on right now. But no, I really grew up on these X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman cartoons, and it's something that I've always loved. And when I finally got to see those characters brought to fruition in live action on screen, it was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And that's really where my passion for movies lies. And that doesn't mean I only like superhero comic book movies. I love all types of movies. I respect every genre. There's greats in every aspect of movies. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. What about you, Gio?
Yeah, for me, it started at the turn of the decade, as in right around 2010. I always thought of myself as a film fan, but I never thought I would be able to do anything creatively out of it. And it wasn't until I saw AMC Movie Talk, which is hosted by John Campia over at AMC Theaters, and seeing how they talk about films, record it, and us watching it and seeing them have so much fun doing it. It inspired me to do something creative with my passion for films, and it also gave me direction in life on where I want to go and what I want to do for the rest of my life. And honestly, it's to talk about movies and to blog about it, to get on a podcast and talk about it, get on a movie talk show and have conversations with different people with different opinions. That's what's so special about talking about movies, is that, like you said, it's subjective and there's no right or wrong answer. You talk about it, you respect people's opinions, and you just have fun doing it. And that's what I want to do. You know, that's life for me.
Yeah, that's really the beauty in it. Just being able to have conversations about movies and about those worlds that they create. And we would not be doing this if it wasn't for probably who you mentioned earlier, John Campia at AMC Movie Talk. Like, watching his show really inspired us to even start a blog. I even remember it like it was yesterday. We kind of started our blog based on advice from him, and not that we know him or anything, but we were just, following him online and stuff. And,
well, technically,
we did get to meet him one time, which was freaking awesome. And
you had multiple conversations with Mr. Campia.
So Gio and I were lucky enough to go down to the AMC 100 million views party back in December, and we were able to meet John Campia and all his coworkers like Dennis Sen, John Schnepp, Amy Rose Eisenbach,
Christian Harloff, Mark
Ellis of Smoj No, and those are two other guys that have inspired us a lot. And watching their podcast is a big reason why I'm doing this right now. And I just would like to say we would not be doing this if it wasn't for those guys, And I know, Gio, you really admire the guys over at Screen Rant, right? And their podcast.
Oh, yeah. Screen Rant, for any of you who don't know, they are an independent movie site, and they give some of the best insight I've ever seen out of dozens of movie sites that I've read articles from. Much respect to Ben Kendrick and Kofi Outlaw and the Screen Rant podcast team. You guys inspire me to do this and to have fun. Thank you guys.
Oh, that's cool. And going back to the AMC 100 million views show, we actually put out an article on our blog about that. You guys can check it out. What is it titled again? The AMC 100 million views party, the experience of a lifetime, or something like that. Yeah, if you just go to our site, movietalkexpress.wordpress.com, you can find that article and all our other articles if you'd like. And it's also where we'll be posting these podcast episodes on there as well.
Yeah, we do have a category called AMC Movie News 100 million views.
Oh, yeah, and that's the only article in it. And I was actually on the video of that episode. I was the first fan to get up and ask a question, so that was like one of the highlights of my life, honestly, and it was pretty cool, and it really inspired me to take movie blogging and movie podcasting seriously and consider doing it. So kudos to them. We really wouldn't be here without their inspiration. So
yeah, for sure. And I'll never forget how nervous you looked on camera, guys.
Hey man, there was thousands of people watching. All right, I'm bound to be nervous.
Guys, look up the video, YouTube, AMC 100 million views. It goes to like the 5th minute, and you'll find him.
Hey, at least I asked a good question. Right?
You did.
Well,
you did,
anyways, yeah, we just love doing this for fun. That's really the bottom line. And we don't expect anything from it. We don't expect to reach a certain level of success. We just have fun doing it, and that's really the important thing. And if success comes with it, then great. That would be awesome, and I would love it. I would appreciate it so much. But for now is for fun. That's great too. So let's go into our next segment, which is going to be our favorite movies of all time, favorite directors of all time, favorite genres of all time, and let's go ahead and start with genres.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go first, and I'm just gonna combine them all. I'm gonna name off some things, and it's just a list that I came up with, actually within the hour. Procrastination at its finest. So, yeah, some of my favorite movies and actors and directors. My favorite movie of all time at the moment is The Social Network.
Wow.
Directed by David Fincher.
One of my favorite directors for sure. We'll get into that in a little bit.
And it has one of my favorite writers, Aaron Sorkin, who is also writing the he actually wrote the Steve Jobs biopic.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't Fincher supposed to direct that?
Yeah, but Sony dropped the ball. Anyways, yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
That teaser trailer looks freaking awesome, by the way.
Yeah, guys, check it out. Yeah, The Social Network, Moneyball. You can kind of see where I'm going with this, with Social Network and Moneyball. Two dramas, well done dramas that, told a real life tale about, Social Network, Facebook, Moneyball, the Oakland A's on their, 20-game win streak, and Billy Beane, whatnot. Yeah. So moving on, Ocean's 11 with Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Julia Roberts.
Wow, I'm surprised I didn't think of that.
Don Cheadle.
That's like a great ensemble.
That ensemble is just amazing. Yeah, great heist film. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, directed by Shane Black. It's a really great noir film. You guys should definitely check it out. Downey before Iron Man. Yeah. Also, the Rocky films. I mean, I
can't forget those.
love the Rocky films. Arguably one of the greatest. It is one of the greatest sports films ever.
Oh yeah, there's no question. So beloved.
Yeah, Rocky won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. I forgot what year. 79 or 80. I'm not sure. Guys, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the spin-off film Creed, starring Michael B. Jordan, directed by Ryan Coogler. I finally got to see Fruitvale Station, and I really love what they did. And I'm looking forward to that film. Great cast. Another favorite film of mine is Bad Boys. Well, films. Bad Boys 1 and 2. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. They had great chemistry. They're fun to watch on screen. And Michael Bay, before he went down this Transformers over CGI effect, poor storytelling hole that he went down, he was something. He still is something special as far as the director goes. I think he still has it in him, and I would like to see a Bad Boys 3. Come on, Will Smith. Get over yourself. You kind of already are. You've proven that with your role in Suicide Squad.
Well, we all know Martin Lawrence wouldn't mind a Bad Boys 3.
Right.
He could use it.
Yeah. So, and then that goes into some of my favorite actors. Will Smith. I love Will Smith. The guy's very entertaining. He was the box office king for about majority of the 2000s. He's, ever since Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that guy is funny. He has charisma, and he has a really strong presence on screen. And another person who is similar in almost every way as Will Smith is Dwayne Johnson. That guy came a long way since being the most electrifying man in sports entertainment.
Can
Yeah.
you smell
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Dwayne Johnson. He was another one of mine favorites. Denzel Washington. You can't go wrong with that guy. That guy is amazing. Um, and well, I mean that's pretty much all I have right now off the top of my
What are
head.
some of your favorite directors?
Favorite directors?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You can just name a few if you don't have, if you don't have some prepared.
Right. You got to go with Spielberg.
Oh yeah.
Saving Private Ryan is one of those movies I can watch over and over again.
Yeah. It's one of the greats.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see, Spielberg. And another one would be Quentin Tarantino.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the best of all time.
Oh yeah.
Can't go wrong.
And his movie Inglourious Bastards is now on Netflix, so check it out, guys.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while. I need to watch it. So for me, as you guys can tell, I love the superhero comic book genre. If I had to choose one genre for the rest of my life to watch, it would be that. And I have no shame in that. I don't care if it's, people think it's hokey or something. I love those movies. I get so excited every time one comes out, hoping that it's good. And but as far as other genres, I really love hard R comedies. Those are freaking fantastic. Like I love movies like The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up and 21 Jump Street and Neighbors, and just I love it. The Judd Apatow, Seth Rogen era of comedies. It's one of my favorite types of films. And I also really like psychological thrillers. Those really, when they're good, they might be the best type of movies in my opinion. And so just to name off some of my favorite movies of all time, my favorite movie of all time, no question, hands down, is The Avengers, the original Avengers, 2012. It just did so much for the comic book genre and movies as a whole. It really kind of started this renaissance of shared cinematic universes in a way, because other studios might have been preparing or thinking about the idea, but seeing the success of that Avengers movie really brought this shared cinematic universe thing to fruition, and has all these other movie studios going after and doing it. And
Yeah, it's definitely a landmark film in the comic book genre.
Oh, yeah.
And you definitely see other studios, trying to replicate Marvel's structure. Fox
yeah.
with X-Men, Sony amazingly failed, like Black Widow says.
Yeah, WB's doing it with their DC properties. Freaking Universal wants to do it with their Monster Squad, the Frankenstein, Mummy, Dracula. They're getting started on that. So I think this is a trend that's going to be around for a while, and you can thank the first Avengers for that. But going back even further in time, we may have never even got the first Avengers if we didn't get the first X-Men movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. One of the greatest memories from my childhood, and it really, maybe along with the Blade movies from the late 90s, it really got this, set a tone for comic book genre movies. And I don't think we would be where we are today in that genre if it wasn't for that first X-Men film, directed by Bryan Singer from 2000. And I mean, I grew up on Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and you can't go wrong with those. The original Star Wars trilogy, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, is freaking amazing. It's great. And although the prequels are not good, but I still have a place for them in my heart. I don't hate them. I consider them Star Wars canon. I still have a love for them, and because I was like 10 years old when they came out, and no one can take that nostalgia away from me. And also, I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, not the Hobbit movies. They're good. The Hobbit movies are good too, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy is really great and a real phenomenon. And specifically, the Fellowship of the Ring as a single movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. I absolutely love that movie. It's freaking fantastic. And going back to what I said earlier about psychological thrillers is one of my favorite genres. One of my favorite movies of all time is Seven, directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. I freaking lost my mind when I saw that movie. It's freaking awesome. And Gone Girl by David Fincher as well. I mean, I know it just came out last year, but it really is. I can say with confidence that it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It might be in my top 10. I like it that much. Yeah, and as far as those hard R comedies I was talking about earlier, I already mentioned 40-Year-Old Virgin. You know, that's a freaking classic in my mind. It's up there in my favorites, and I want to talk about some of my favorite actors and actresses before I mention a couple more movies that I like. Gio knows this. My favorite actor of all time, hands down, he's one of the greats in my opinion, is Leonardo DiCaprio. I've watched his career as long as I can remember, and he's great ever since like Basketball Diaries and Titanic. Like I don't know how many times my mom watched Titanic when I was a kid, but I must have seen it like 20,000 times. I actually really like Titanic. Leo is just great. He is hands down, and I don't think anyone will ever take this crown from him. For me, is as one of the best actors of all time and my favorite actor of all time. And that goes into The Wolf of Wall Street, which is not one of his classics per se, and it's relatively new, but I really like it. It might be my favorite movie of Leo's. And
Margot Robbie too.
Oh my goodness, the introduction of Margot Robbie. Wow, that's another discussion.
Your Hollywood crush.
One of them. Yeah, some of my other favorite actors of all time. Jack Nicholson is one of the greats. And like I said earlier, you know, Seth Rogen is one of my favorite actors. There's no question. Hugh Jackman, Brad Pitt, Paul Rudd, and some of my favorite actresses. My favorite actress of all time per se it's probably Nicole Kidman. Honestly, she's done a lot of movies and had a great successful career, and I like a lot of her movies, and you know, and I really like Scarlett Johansson, and not because she's drop dead gorgeous, but because she's a really great actress, and she really has a strong presence on screen, and I respect that. And I really like Jennifer Lawrence. She's a great actress, and I don't understand why people hate on her so much. And a couple other of my favorite actors, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jason Segel, James Franco. Those are just some of my favorites. And as far as directors go, you know, I'd be a fool not to mention Christopher Nolan, as he's just directed some of the greatest movies I've ever seen, as far as, you know, the Dark Knight trilogy, specifically Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, and
The Prestige.
I haven't seen it, but I need to get around to some of his movies. But Inception, wow, it has. And speaking of Inception, I already mentioned Leo and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but Tom Hardy, man, he's becoming one of my favorite actors, bro. Like, we just saw him in Mad Max. Like, he's great.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
He's gonna, like, in my opinion, he's gonna be one of the greats when it's all said and done. So yeah, those are just some of our favorite movies, genres, directors, actors, actresses.
I have to name one more director, and he's directing two actors you've mentioned, Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu.
Oh my goodness.
Birdman. Come on, Birdman. That was
only seen one of his movies, man.
I know, but I mean that sometimes
Birdman's great. Don't get me wrong, but
sometimes
he's one of your favorite directors.
Sometimes all
from
you
one
need,
movie.
He's a favorite director. I mean, that means like from now moving
right.
forward, I'm interested in everything he's gonna
you know
do.
What he has coming out later this year?
The Revenant
with Leonardo DiCaprio
and Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah, and someone we just saw in Ex Machina, Domhnall Gleeson.
Oh, nice.
Now,
yeah.
and you didn't really know much about him before that movie, right?
I did not know.
And now you have a little, taste of him before you see him in The Revenant.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, so those are some of our faves. If you guys, want to mention some of your favorite actors, directors, genres, movies in the comment section, go ahead and let us know. We would love to see what you guys like and, get a conversation going down in the comment section, please.
You've clearly had more time to prepare than I have. Your list is amazing, man. All the actors and directors and movies you named are just awesome, man. The Lord of the Rings, I just saw that trilogy, and it's freaking amazing, man. The hobbits are coming to Isengard. No, they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. How did I
just watch it for the first time? You rewatched it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really wanted to take time and, prepare my list because I want to show respect to the people that have created the movies that I love and the people in the movies that I love. Not that you didn't. I'm just saying, like, I didn't want to leave anyone out, and I still left some people out. I guarantee it. We can't get around to all of it. So, we're going to go into our next segment, which is, I'm going to have Gio here, pick a topic. It can be anything. It can be from the movie news as of late. It can be something from a movie from 50 years ago. It can be anything. It can be a futuristic, theoretical situation about movies. Anything that he has prepared. So I'm going to have him ask me a question, and we'll talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, I got a couple things. First, this is recent, like as in this week. Several sequels and threequels were announced, and I'm gonna name these films off, and you tell me your reaction to the announcement. Whether you're excited, not excited, what'd you like about the previous film, etc.
All right, I got you.
All right. Project X is getting a sequel titled Project XX.
Really?
Yep. And so far as I know, Todd Phillips, director of Hangover, is producing. And
did he direct the first one or no?
No, it was someone else. I can't remember the name. It's a funky name. But yeah, no, I was under the impression
was he involved in the first one at all?
Yeah, he produced it.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, executive producer, I believe. So yeah, they're making a Project X sequel. What do you think? Are you excited? What do you think about the first film?
I didn't love the first movie, but it was fun. I'll give it that. It was a unique movie and
used found footage style.
I liked. Yeah, we've seen found footage in horror and like in action chronicle, and I think that it did something very unique as far as a party high school type movie with found footage. It was very interesting and entertaining to watch, and I liked it. And as far as the sequel goes, I don't really care. I'm not going to be lining up to see it, but this is probably not going to happen, but if this was a situation, if Miles Teller's in that movie, right? He's barely in it, but he's like the popular guy that they look up to, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if he was like one of the leads in the movie, I think that would be pretty cool. But we kind of already saw him in that role in 21 and Over, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure I'll see it, but I don't necessarily care that much.
All right, and the next film that's getting a sequel, it's been announced by Warner Brothers, I believe. World War Z 2.
Oh wow! I knew that, but
and Brad Pitt is returning in the role. And God, who's the director? It's not the same director as.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Well,
but what do you think about a World War Z sequel?
Brad Pitt's company produces those movies, right?
Plan B, yes.
Yeah, the Plan B, yeah.
Plan B Productions, yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I think they did a really good job with that first movie, honestly. I heard that initially they didn't like what they had and they went back and did rewrites and reshoots. Am I mistaken?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in the middle of production on the first film, they went through several rewrites, including the third act, which originally involved them going to Russia and having a Brad Pitt having a shootout, but they cut that and they put instead the
Yeah, the ending that happened. You don't want to spoil it for anyone, but
right. Well, the movie
even though
came
the
out,
movie's
yeah.
old, but
Yeah.
still, you never know. Maybe someone's planning on watching it tonight. Maybe they just by hearing about this, they'll watch it. But
It's on
anyways,
Netflix.
I am excited for a sequel of that for a couple reasons. Like I mentioned earlier, I like Brad Pitt as an actor. Like some people might give him crap because he's a pretty boy or something, but he's a great actor. Make no mistake about it, and he has a great presence on screen, and anything he's in, I'm gonna see, and especially if he's the lead and his company's producing it. His company produced 12 Years a Slave, which won Best Picture at the Oscars a couple years ago. So that's his company's taking great steps, and yeah, I'm excited for a sequel. Why not? That was a very great, unique zombie movie. So I liked it, and I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Yeah, some people were upset because it took liberties from the books written
Oh,
by
are they like graphic
Max
novels
Brooks.
or something?
One graphic novel titled World War Z, and it was more of a scripted of a notes of people fighting the war against
Yeah.
zombies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but apparently the film took a lot of liberties, which
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that
upset
at
people,
all.
but
Comic book movies do that all the time.
but as I wrote in the blog post, they are starting over with a clean slate, and they will be taking some of the source material into consideration for the film. So, hey, you guys have something to look forward to. Those of you who
Wait,
are
so
upset.
what do you mean they're starting with a clean slate? Is it not in continuity with the first movie?
Um,
Or
I want to say it will be, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, for one, Brad Pitt is returning
oh, okay.
in
Yeah,
the
it probably will be. They'll
in the
probably
role.
they might like have more nods to the source material second time around, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. And the final film that's getting a sequel or a threequel, Now You See Me. It was announced that Lionsgate is moving forward with a third film before the second film even releases. I thought it showed much confidence from the studio and what they've seen so far. A couple things to point out. Isla Fisher, who was the female magician in the first film, is not returning. Neither is Melanie Lornette, who was the Interpol agent and sort of love interest to Mark Ruffalo's character. But the sequel will be seeing the additions of Daniel Radcliffe and Lizzie Kaplan from The Interview. So, yeah, Now You See Me. The second act is on its way, and the studio has announced Now You See Me 3. And what's your reaction to this?
I have mixed feelings because on one hand I'm like, okay, why are you announcing a third movie when the second one's not out yet? But that, like you mentioned, can be a good thing. They must love what they're seeing from the production of the second movie. I don't know how far in production they are. Are they almost done
They just wrapped
shooting?
Yeah.
Oh, so they already know if it's good or not. I mean, maybe
rough,
not.
rough cut.
Like they know the direction the movie is headed in, and
Right.
so they must love what they see if they're. And it's no different than these comic book movies. How we know when Avengers 4 is coming out, like it's no different. So if they like what they see from the second one and they're confident going forward with that franchise, then good for them. I am upset that Isla Fisher
Isla.
Isla Fisher is not
Fisher.
returning. I really like her actually, and she brought sort of like a different element to that movie because everybody was like so serious. Even though she usually does comedies and stuff, but she wasn't. She was serious in that movie, but I just liked her presence in that movie. She was something different, you know. And I'm a little upset that she's leaving the franchise. I mean, who knows? Maybe she returns for the third one. That would be pretty cool. I could see that happening. So yeah, I mean, I didn't love the first Now You See Me. I kind of did not understand the ending as well as other people. I don't know if it really made sense, but
One editor wrote they kind of departed away from the whole tricks and magic and went towards more like CGI effects, superheroism kind of thing. Like
for the sequels.
for the ending of the first film, when they jumped
Oh,
off
I
the
see what you're
roof
saying.
and
Okay.
like what?
Yeah, I need to rewatch that movie, and I will. I mean, it has a freaking great cast.
Morgan Freeman.
I like Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson. Oh my goodness, I did not mention Woody Harrelson as one of my favorite actors. I should have earlier. See, I knew we were gonna forget some people. I really like Woody Harrelson.
So you forgot about Kingpin? I'm kidding.
But yeah, man, you got anything else for me, or is that it?
Well, let's see. We have a couple other movie things. I wrote a editorial on Hugh Jackman retiring after Wolverine 3. Under big deal or no big deal. I said it was a big deal because I don't know who they're gonna find to carry these films. Maybe someone else in the new cast could pop up and be a rising star. But I also made a counter argument that maybe we'll see more balance in these X-Men films instead of focusing on just one person and sacrificing the character developments of other mutants. But I think it's a big deal. Hugh Jackman leaving is it's kind of sad, like you mentioned earlier. These X-Men, the first X-Men film was really a landmark as far as getting the comic book genre to where it's at right now. And he was one of the people from the beginning. We saw him, Tobey Maguire, and he, retired, so to speak. But Hugh Jackman has been there the entire way, and in 2017 will be his last appearance as Wolverine.
I don't think that will be the last time we see him. If I understand why he wants to. He's sick of keeping that body in the shape that it is, and he's in his 40s or something, right?
Mid 40s.
Yeah, so I understand why, and he might be sick of playing this character. I mean, even though he loves it, I don't think it's the last time we'll see him, but maybe we won't get another solo Wolverine film after this one, but I would hope to see him in future X-Men installments. And maybe they can deal with his aging problem with going in the Old Man Logan comic book storyline, which I personally don't know much about, but apparently his aging starts to kick in that storyline, and there's a whole bunch of stuff involved with him being mortal now. So that would be kind of cool to see. I mean, as far as him leaving, it's sad, honestly. It makes me sad because he was the forefront of that X-Men movie, and if that X-Men movie was one of the main reasons we have comic book movies the way they are today, then he is the main reason for, as far as actors, and he really, everybody wants to talk about, who's going to take over for Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man when he finally steps away. But Hugh Jackman's really that first guy where like he's been playing this character for over 15 years, and he's been dedicated to us as fans, and I really appreciate that. And I want to thank him for giving us so many great moments and movies and scenes as Wolverine. Like he's perfect for that character, and maybe that's only because that's the only iteration of the character we've seen in live action, but I'm going to be sad if that's really his last time gone, and it is a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal as Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, Tony Stark character. And before you guys say, what are you talking about? You're crazy. We're already starting to see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe the transitioning of Robert Downey Jr. carrying these Marvel films. If you noticed, Age of Ultron introduced several new superheroes.
No spoilers.
Most of them have gotten a positive, reaction from the audiences. And Captain America: Civil War will introduce even more characters and potentially introducing one new character by the name of Spider-Man. Again, it's not confirmed, but Spider-Man, I expect to see him in Civil War. And so with the introduction of all these characters and the Marvel contracts, which are well publicized and documented, running towards their near end, we're already starting to see the transition of these films becoming less about Iron Man and more about the future of the Avengers and getting younger.
Oh yeah, and we're definitely going to see that with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going to take over as the main focus of the Avengers universe, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, that's just my take on it. Could be totally wrong, but I'm just reading between the lines. And also, I'm looking at something right now via Screen Rant. Apparently, Frank Grillo, who was Brock Rumlow in Captain America: The Winter Soldier,
AKA Crossbones.
He's already done filming his scenes in Civil War.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today.
Normally, I would be like, oh, cool, he's done. Lucky for him. Everyone else has to stay on set for a certain amount of weeks. But with him wrapping so suddenly, I'm afraid his character, could be gone by the end of the first act of the film, which would be a shame because I felt like Marvel has had this problem with killing off these villains who have rich story in the comics. And like, for example, Baron von Strucker. Spoiler alert! I am so sorry, you guys.
No,
you know what?
That out.
No.
We're cutting that out.
No. Avengers: Age of Ultron has been out for 23 days. If you haven't seen Avengers: Age of Ultron by now, Jacob, you've watched it 5 times. I've watched it 4 times. If you haven't seen it, then clearly it's not on your priority list. You can't sacrifice 2 hours and 15 minutes out of 23 days to watch Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Right. And honestly, Von Strucker's not a big character, and him dying has no strong implications on anything, really.
But it's unfortunate because, Marvel needs more smaller villains, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because we have, the main villains, the Lokis, the Ultrons, the Thanoses, essentially.
Right. And actually, they did the same thing in The Winter Soldier with Baltrock, George St. Pierre.
Oh, he didn't die, though.
He didn't die?
He didn't die.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Captain America kicked him in the head.
But then they showed him,
knocked him out.
And then they showed him captured. And
oh yeah, he wasn't dead though. He wasn't dead.
Oh, okay. So yeah. he may return, but
yeah. But I agree though. They're
seeing this pattern.
They should hold on to those smaller villains. They can reappear again.
So hopefully, Crossbones doesn't bite the dust in the first act of the film.
I don't think he's gonna bite the dust. I think it's gonna be a situation where maybe the opening scene, Crossbones is going after Captain America, and then they have a fight, and then, the fight ends, he goes off, eat lunch with his wife or something, I don't know. But I don't think he's going to die. He's not going to die.
Yeah, it could go either way.
That's my opinion.
For sure. Yeah, totally. Both of us could be wrong. One of us could be right. I actually read something online, and I'm a little bit hesitant on sharing it. Well, I mean, if it's not confirmed by
Well, no, it's
Marvel
if it's a
or
potential
the
spoiler, we probably shouldn't mention it.
well, it's not really a spoiler. It just kind of sets up the plot for Civil War. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. If you don't want to know anything about Civil War, skip forward 2 minutes from now, starting now. So apparently, the Winter Soldier is heavily involved in the Civil War, and how it goes is everyone is looking for Sebastian Stan's character, Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier. Apparently, he might have something to do with Tony Stark's father's death. He might also have something to do with the destruction caused in Wakanda, so Black Panther's looking for him.
And obviously,
Crossbones is looking for Winter Soldier to try and
Captain
turn him
America
back.
and
Captain
Falcon are
America
looking
and
for
Falcon are looking for him.
Wow, that's a good way of tying everything together in a way.
Right, yeah.
And that is great because a lot of people were wondering, okay, the Winter Soldier was a big focus in the last Captain America movie, and the way that movie ends, you think he'd be a big part of the third movie, right? And people were wondering, Civil War is looking to be more and more like an Avengers movie, and how are they going to fit Bucky Barnes into this whole thing? Because he has to be a relevant part of this movie regardless, because that's the way Winter Soldier ends, with Captain America and Falcon going to look for him. So they have to at least pick up on that. And if they focus the movie around that in a way, that can work.
Yeah. Sebastian Stan signed a 9-picture deal with Marvel. So safe to say he's going to be around for some time. And we've kind of seen hints of him carrying the Captain America mantle once Chris Evans is done playing Captain America, whether it's temporarily or permanent. And we'll see where it goes. Marvel definitely has the work cut out for them over these next few films and setting up future storylines beyond Phase 3. And it'll be interesting to see. We'll have to wait, and we'll keep our eyes out and ears open, and we'll report it to you. And yeah, with that, I think that's just about it as far as
Question.
Movie news.
All right, cool,
goes.
man. Well, that's gonna do it for our first episode. It was pretty fun, in my opinion. Just remember, we are just starting out on this podcast. You know, we're not gonna be perfect. We're never gonna be perfect, but we're gonna get better as we go on, hopefully, and we're gonna adapt and, you know, make changes to our podcast in order to improve, and hopefully you guys will grow with us and be patient with us as we're learning and figuring out how to do this ourselves. And I really hope we can spark some interesting ideas and conversations as far as stuff that we talk about with you guys. And just remember, we're fans just like all of you. We love movies, and that's where this passion comes from. It's nothing more than that. It's simply a love for movies, and that's where our podcast is based on. So we're going to go ahead and close it out. We would love it if you guys can check out our movie blog, movietalkexpress.wordpress.com. If you have a WordPress account, you can go ahead and follow us on there. If you don't have a WordPress account, you could just log into or go to the site anytime. And you can also find us on Facebook at Movie Talk Express. Our Twitter handle is at Movie Talk EX, all lowercase, Movie Talk EX. And then you can find me, Jacob Bartley, on Twitter at Jake Ryan Bartley, JakeRyanBartley. And Gio, where can they find you at?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Giorgio Ramos 24, GIORGIORAMOS 24, and I'm also on Facebook as well.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. This was the Movie Talk Express podcast. I am Jacob Bartley, your host, here with my co-host Gio, and thank you very much for listening. We'll see you guys next time.